your position regarding the Eli Broad proposal to create more charter schools in LAUSD?
I think I can't say that I am a fully conversant person on all of Eli Broad's plans about charter schools. My daughter-in-law is a charter school teacher, and I think charter schools do have a place and are not only an effective means of educating some children, but also can be a laboratory for different kinds of strategies of effective education. The public schools, however, are our main resource to be able to educate the vast majority of the children in this district, and we must support our public schools. So I think that one thing you'll find about me, I'm not an ideologue. I'm not going to ever be all for charter schools, and I'm not going to be ever all against charter schools, because what I'm all for is the children in the district, the families, to be able to get quality education. In LA, the school district is way too huge, the bureaucracy is impossible, and there are huge problems with the amount of dollars that have to get into the classroom and for the teachers. And with that, I'm going to be respectful, but I'd love to talk about this issue at greater length because I think it's the most important issue that we face.
All right, does anyone want to follow up? 30 seconds.
I want to agree too. Public education is a huge issue. If we want to improve the economy and the lives of people, education is the way to do it. It lifts kids up out of poverty. But charter schools are here to stay. They're an alternate form of governance, and so long as they're there for the right purposes, to better education for kids and not to try and get rid of unions or avoid teaching kids that are more expensive, then I'm fine with that. But we need to be investing a lot more in our public schools, whether they be charter or regular public schools.
Is there another response?
I'm a big supporter of public schools. Charter schools have been used way too much to get out of union contracts, to get out of regulations. We do not do enough to regulate the charter schools. A lot of them are good schools, but a lot of them are bad schools that really need to be watched over much more closely. I've been the member of a board of trustees of an educational program for high school students, and I really want to make sure that we do the right thing for students, and too many of the charter schools are not doing that.
I just wanted to, so the specific question was about the Broad proposal, right?
Yes.
And so the Broad proposal is about a 50% target of charter schools in the next 5 years, I think it is, or 10 years? I forget the exact time frame.
It does have a time limit, yeah,
right.
But he does.
I mean, so my problem with the proposal is it's not about hitting some magical target. It's not about how many charter schools you have in the system, right? If you hit 50%, that doesn't mean you've transformed education, right? You've transformed education when kids are going to college without debt and they're prepared for the workforce, right? You transform education when teachers have the tools they need in the classroom. So there's a lot of talk and politics and money going around this sort of charter debate, but it's way too wooden right now and way too binary. Right? That's not what's going to drive our change in education. And I went to public school, right? This is not, we should not be outsourcing our education. And it's not about arbitrary numbers, right? It's about kids and teachers and the tools they need to get things done. So that's my opinion on this specific point.
George, come.
Just so long as we are on the topic of public schools and charter schools, about half of the schools in Van Nuys, where I represent, are charter schools. But the real issue that I would want to work on is the gang problem and the need for after-school programs, and to get these individuals that are in high school on the right track. Growing up, I was in every sport. I was a Boy Scout, a Cub Scout. I had no time to do anything wrong. My parents made sure of that. But if you're a junior or a senior and you know you're not going to college, maybe we could direct you to a trade or technical college and go that road.
Thank you. This is somewhat related. This question is directed to Richard Matthews. Tell us what you did to help children and teens to get into the summer science program in Ojai.
That was the program that I was mentioning just a bit ago. This is a program that teaches really bright high school students astrophysics, calculus, computer programming. It's designed to train the next generation of scientists. It was founded in 1959, right after the launch of Sputnik, in order to respond to that and make sure that we were doing the right thing. And we now have 2 campuses, one on the University of Colorado in Boulder, one campus at New Mexico Tech, and we are starting up a pilot program to get out of astrophysics and start up a genetics program where students can actually work testing DNA, and it's just an amazing experience. So many of our students, almost all of them, have called it an experience of a lifetime. And this is the kind of thing that I want to spread around much more widely so more students can have the experience of a lifetime and our top students can excel.
All right, are there any follow-up questions concerning this? All right, thank you. I'm going back to a question for...
Genetic research?
I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
All right. I'm going back to a question. This is for all the candidates, and we're going to do it in reverse order. The person whose name comes last, alphabetically speaking, will be first. This question is a combination. Each of you are great individuals and have quite a bit of good experiences, but one makes you a better candidate than the others. And how will you work to preserve France Pavlis' legacy? George?
Do I get 10 minutes?
No, you get 1 minute.
I get 1 minute. Okay, I'm not interested in saying I'm better than this person or that person up here at the table, but my background, I started working for a congressman right out of high school. I own a newspaper. I'm a political reporter. I cover the White House and Congress. I cover the state legislature and local government. I'm completely and thoroughly involved in the issues. My public safety background, I've been with the LAPD for 15 years. I will make sure that my top priority is keeping everyone safe. Besides that, I was on the radio for years. I was a radio DJ at KCLU, securing Fran Pavlis' legacy. She truly is an environmentalist. Everything that she's done up in Sacramento, I support. I am an environmentalist also. I have been since day one, and I would be voting the same way as her on all of that legislation.
All right, just pass it to David. He's next.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
Me? All right. So hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna keep standing. I feel bad. There's people in the back corner of the room. So in terms of what distinguishes me, I think we talked about it a little bit earlier. Working in the Capitol and trying to get things done, right? Moving legislation. So I'll just give you another example. When there was fracking going on in this state, and no one really knew where or when it was happening, there was no notice. Senator Pavlis came to me and said, "What do we do about this?" I wrote a bill, right? I'm an environmental attorney, and I've been fighting for this work my whole life, whether it's with Congressman Waxman on the Hill, in the private sector building clean energy projects, but sitting down across the table, just like this one, across from Jerry Brown, right? And what does it feel like at that moment when there's media buzzing around the building, and there's lobbyists swirling, and everyone's on the floor debating, and you've got to sit down across that table and get a deal done, right? What does that take? I know what that takes, because I've done that work. So I think that's what you're going to get out of me, is someone who actually knows how to get things done in Sacramento. But I'm not going to forget this district, right? This is home. I can't help it. I got to come and eat. You know, my mom's cooking dinner out there. I got to get home, be in my ocean, be in these mountains. So I won't forget this, but you need someone to translate that heart into action. Oh, and that Fran's legacy, yeah. I mean, that kind of goes with the territory, right? She's endorsed me, I'm with her, so.
What distinguishes me is experience. I've been an elected official for 21 years, and I have to tell you that governing is unlike anything you do in real life. You're on the hot seat, you're responsible to your constituents, and you have to deal with nettlesome problems sometimes that don't have one good answer. So it's a tough act to do. And it's something that some do well and others don't. I'm a big fan of Fran's. I think her legacy is secure, but we do have to safeguard what she started. If we don't control our greenhouse gas emissions, we're doomed, all of us. And nothing else will matter. So we not only need to preserve that, we need to go further, as I've mentioned, particularly with methane emissions, and we need to have Sacramento and local agencies working together.
You know what I'm going to get done because it's what I have been getting done. I am going to be a fierce advocate. I fought for a much stronger fracking bill. We need to have a fracking moratorium, and I will be fighting for that. And I have done so much more. Other things I haven't mentioned, I've been fighting as a leader to get Santa Susana Field Laboratory thoroughly cleaned up. And I wrote the state party platform language that calls for phasing out nuclear power entirely. On the fracking, we need to have something that really regulates if we're going to have it, but we really need to get rid of it entirely. I'll be taking Fran Pavley's legacy and extending it so much more by fighting for what we really, really need. On this gas leak, I am fighting for doing so much more than what the governor and the legislature are already doing. We need to be getting rid of natural gas, getting off of fossil fuels, switching over to solar power. Thank you.
Okay, so what distinguishes me? Hello, I am a female in this race trying to replace a female senator. The number of women in the state legislature is on the decline. This year and last term, 15 women in the state of California are being termed out. We fought long and hard for women to have a seat at the table, whether it's in corporate boardrooms, in law firms, on the courts, or in the legislature. And I think it's critical that we continue to have females represented. Females do bring a different perspective to our legislation and to our communities and to whatever the context is. And that's been proven by study after study that women make a difference. I will advocate for women's issues, for families, and that is my perspective on all matters. I will always look at the impact of that on women and children and families, whether it's transportation, business, or the environment. There is not a single environment